Hi, well, welcome to Geeks on Screens. It is the 3rd of December and it is
It's 6:14
in the
in the
evening.
evening.
So you,
Nice.
you can't laugh at Mickey. And welcome to today's guest is Bob. How are you doing? And what are
I'm
you
doing all
drinking?
right.
And where's your
What am
coffee?
I drinking? I actually went and got proper Starbucks since it is Geeks on Screens with coffee. So I have a Frappuccino here. It definitely tastes like coffee. I'm not sure there's actual coffee in it, but there is a hell of a lot of sugar, so I should be good and wired by the end of this.
And I've just got my Redgate mug. Sorry,
Oh,
no,
nice.
no deliberate sponsorship there. They don't. Lovely coffee from Redgate.
There we go.
SQL tools for the best people. Sorry, they don't sponsor, but maybe I could inspire them to sponsor.
There we go.
All right, there's your slate.
Oh, wow. We're
Um,
official now.
yep. Well, we're not official till we've done this.
Oh, dear. All right. Very
Now,
nice.
now that looks okay to you, but the green screen really wrecks it when people look
Oh,
at
I
it.
bet that.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
green
Yeah, I can see
letters are.
that.
I went haywire with the FX budget and bought some more letters, which is why they're all sort of jumbled around at
Yeah, it
different
looks good.
sizes. I like it. What I didn't have is an @ symbol for the Twitter hashtag.
Oh, yeah, I guess they probably wouldn't include that in those letter sets, would they?
No, no, I mean they're meant for like children to put on walls. So
Exactly.
um, but how are you? And how's the pandemic in? I'm going to guess you're in the States. I have no idea which bit of the States you're in.
So I'm in Chicago. So as we like to say, come for the pizza, stay because you were murdered. That's how things go in Chicago usually.
Ah,
Um, yeah, it's been pretty good. I've worked from home full time for the last like 4 years, so I can tell people I've worked from home before it was cool now. But for me, it hasn't been much of an interruption other than I have my wife and my child were home together with me for quite a while. So the two of us were both trying to work from home and keep him entertained. He's 4.5 years old. So not exactly the age where we can park him in front of the television for hours on end yet or anything like that. But
I mean,
we made it work.
not that you would ever do that, of course.
Never,
Never,
ever, you know.
never, shh, never.
Yeah. Streaming is an awesome and dangerous thing.
It is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the American TV stuff is like, but there's a couple of channels in the UK specifically for children. One CBBS with lots of kind of brightly coloured stuff with moving around. You would never put your children in front of that and walk away and leave them. Never. I would have never done
Never,
that.
ever.
No.
No, no. Yeah, we just do that with Netflix. So he can watch whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he has no clue what a commercial is.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Because we had Real TV on once and they were advertising something. He's like, "What is that?" We're like, "Oh, those are commercials."
so we haven't done an intro. So,
Oh,
Bob,
sorry.
do you want to tell people who you are and what you do and how clever you are?
I don't know if I'm clever or not, but I'm Bob Pusateri. I'm a SQL community member, I'm DBA, architect. Officially, I guess I'm a software engineer now. I work for Salesforce. I've been there for about 2 years now. So yeah, that's what I'm up to, and I do a lot of speaking, presenting, community activities,
You're a
blogging, essentially,
you're an
every once in a while.
you're an MCM.
I am a Microsoft Certified Master, or
Can you
the
can you still say you're an MCM, or does that kind of retire?
I mean, what's funny about it was I became an MCM, so was it 2013? They end of 2013, I think they killed the program. I became an MCM in like May of 2013, and then they announced, I want to say 2 or 3 months later, that the program was ending at the end of the year. So, and I was actually starting a job search at that point. So when I first started, I had Microsoft Certified Master on my resume. I had people asking questions about it. That was all good. And then as soon as Microsoft announced they were killing it, I'd go into interviews and say I'm a Microsoft Certified Master, and people would be like, "Oh, that's the certification that's no good anymore." Like all of a
No,
sudden, everybody knew what it was in like the most negative light possible. So, but
it's
I
no
still
good.
consider myself a current MCM. I don't I They said it never goes away. It's still on my transcript. So
2008 it went up to.
yes, SQL Server. They did have a 2012 version, but that was Microsoft Certified Solutions Master. I think it was MCSM, and it was very, very short lived. Like I think there was only a dozen or so people who actually got the 2012 version, but I did not. So yeah, 2008 was what that went up to.
Yeah, so you're part of a very small group of people, and you did the newer versions. You didn't do the like the what was it like 3 week? It was like it was a boot camp.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it was
it?
like 3 or 4 weeks in Redmond. No, I did not do that version. I did the newer, the online version. I'm actually, as far as I know, I'm the youngest ever MCM, at least in SQL Server, because I was 29 when I got it, and the other person who I thought was about my age was actually 31. So, as far as I know, I'm the youngest.
All right. Don't rub
Yeah.
it
So,
in. Don't rub it in. I mean, not that I wanted to get it and didn't get it, but please, I mean, feel free to make me feel bad.
well, as I like to say, being a Microsoft Certified Master and having $2.50 will get me a ride on the subway in Chicago. So I don't think it does a whole lot at this point.
But how are
But
things in Chicago with kind of the pandemic? So you're working from home, all your
yeah,
customers. I mean, being Salesforce, I presume most of you'd be working from home anyway. But
yeah. I mean, the team I'm on is like 3/4 of my team is remote
right.
all around the world anyway. So it didn't really impact us. I mean, but yeah, as far as things go in Chicago, a lot of people work from home. I know a lot of public transit is not getting used right now, right? Because a lot of people aren't going into the city or aren't moving around for whatever reason. So, um, but generally, people here are relatively good about masking up.
Yeah.
When I go out, I see people taking proper precautions.
Yeah, I mean, most people do. I think it's a vocal minority who don't.
I would agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's a you. I mean, I guess the term is you get crazies everywhere. You don't.
Great way to put it.
There's nothing special about the US in that respect. A higher population just means you've got the same percentage. You just got more people. So,
More
yeah,
more crazies in numbers,
but
yes, but
that's only a percentage. It's you can't claim anything special about that. We've got our own special crazies here, so don't worry about that.
there we go.
So when I noticed it looks like you've got a proper office rather than
This
you're kind of just makeshifting in a bedroom. That's like a
this is
proper laser printer
this
and
this is a proper office. Yeah, would you like a tour?
Oh, I'd love a tour.
We could tour around the office. I can even take the camera down and try to hold it steady and show you
Uh,
what we're looking at here. So
have you got a fancy standing desk as well?
I do have a standing desk. Yeah, I like
Oh,
to stand, keep
so
myself alert, and so I try to do it whenever I can.
you're a terrible person.
Sorry. Let's see if I can get my camera loose. Oh no, can I not get my camera loose?
It's
It
like an
is
early
top.
it's like an
There
early
we go.
90s pop video.
There we go. Yeah, this is going to be really bad. So sorry to anyone with motion sickness. So here's my wonderful office. My desk. I keep it pretty clean. Got
Ooh,
some
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
got some devices here. Have my shelves. I'm looking in the little screen to see what's showing here, so I can show you just random junk I put on here. Got some books I'm working on. We can talk about those
What was that?
if you would like
What's
at
that
some
top
point.
one with the fish?
That is here. I'll grab it for you. That is Think Stats.
Oh,
Just trying to learn a little bit more about Spark and data processing in that way. So we have Think Stats. We have, what is this one? Oh yes, I was reading this the other night. This is Passing Gas and Getting Paid for It: The Musings of a Comic Anesthesiologist. So this is just a entertaining book.
who's that written by?
Bart J. Borsky, MD. So
Okay.
yeah, so got that. Have the wonderful New York Times bestseller here, Practical Advice to Managing All of Life's Impossible Problems.
So
And
you still read physical books
I
rather
read physical books. I do have a Kindle, and I read stuff online. And I got Bob Ward's book that I think I got at Pass Summit last year or whatever. They were handing them out. So, but yeah, I do still read physical books.
You can't say that. You got Bob Ward's book and you paid for it.
I paid and I made a donation at the office. How about that?
Okay, good. Yeah.
There we go.
Excellent.
Yes.
Don't say you
So
got it for
I did
free.
not get it autographed by Bob Ward. I should have done that too, but
Oh, okay.
oh well. Let's see what else I have here. So I have actually here this gold box here. I can't really show you the front of it. This is actually a Super VHS VCR. I do a lot of work with converting old videotapes to digital. So I have a whole bunch of equipment here for doing that. So this is a JVC Super VHS VCR, which was among the last of the VCRs that were made. So this is like, as far as earlier VCRs were built more like for better quality recording, but the later ones are actually built for better quality playback, believe it or not. So this VCR has some digital correction involved in playing back the tape and can really get a lot of quality off of a bad quality tape. These later models had what were called dynamic drums, so the read heads could actually tilt to track better and more effectively. It's quite interesting. So I have a couple of these. This is the one I tend to use the most to play back into. If you can see back on my desk here, I'll try to point to it. I can't reach the camera that far. This green box here, can you even see that?
Yeah.
I'm
This is a
terrible at
green.
pointing.
Yeah.
So that green box is called a time-based corrector, which is a, here, I'll put the camera back here before I hold it terribly and make everyone sick. It's called a time-based corrector. So this is it's an analog piece of electronics that corrects a video signal. So in a VHS tape, or on any tape, I also do Betamax, there is a time signal on the tape. Yes, I have working Betamax player. So there's a time signal on the tape that gives one pulse for every frame. Right. So here in the US, we're using NTSC, so that's 29.97 frames per second. Over on your corner of the pond, it's PAL with 25 frames per second.
Yeah.
Though actually you get higher quality with your lower frame rate than we do here because of a whole bunch of backwards compatibility issues going back to the early days of television. But anyway, the first signal on a tape to degrade is usually that time signal. So you end up with frames that can merge into one another or get the VCR off as far as timing is concerned. So a TBC, or a time-based corrector, will actually redivide that signal into proper frames, and it solves a lot of the tracking and quality issues you'll run into with tape playback, especially older tapes. As a side bonus, if you have like a VHS tape that has that copy protection on it, where it make things look like gray and stuff, it'll actually remove that too, because one of the signals that's introduced as noise is a copy protection signal. But that's not what I use that for. It's just to correct the video. So once it comes out of the time-based corrector and we have like proper isolated video, it goes into this gray box next to it, which is a analog to SDI digitizer.
Yeah.
That'll actually convert it to a digital signal, and then I can import it into a computer as digital video at that point.
Right.
So
I mean, who the hell has VHS or even Betamax anymore? Is this like for friends, or is this like a side business thing that you?
this is not a business. This is home movies. This is my family's home movies, my extended family's home movies. I have another VCR down here. I have an 8mm VCR for camcorder tapes.
Yeah, I
I have,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, the little 8mm camcorder tapes. Those are way higher quality than VHS. Like I have 30 and 35-year-old 8mm tapes that look better. And there's a bunch of reasons why it was actually higher quality than a VHS tape. So, but yeah, I do all this stuff. I digitize them properly, re-encode them usually to like H.264, H.265, something like that. I get a lot of requests from family like, can you put this on DVD for me? Well, sure, I will, but it's not the only thing I'm going to do, because in my personal opinion, the DVD player is going to be as hard to find as a VCR is in probably not a whole lot of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so a VHS or a Betamax is what I laughed at for the younger viewers. Is it's like Netflix, but they send you a box and it's like it has tape, like sticky tape on reels, and it runs from one to the other, and that runs through a little head and it turns it into pictures that appears on the magic box in the corner of the room. Now, Do people still have that many? Because I would have thought I still see. Um, there's someone in our village, and you go past the house, and they've got a little sign saying they will do conversions of video. But
Okay.
is it that? Do you? I mean, you must run out of video. I mean, do people just turn up at your house with like box loads of
I've had
Betamax?
family members come to me with boxes of tapes and or certain tapes they really care about, and yeah, that's something I can do for them at least. So we had uh my wife's grandmother who passed away a couple months ago. We were cleaning out her place, and she had it was a weird metal case, and I had never seen it. It was like a reminded me of a lunch box from like 60 or 70 years ago, almost like a toolbox. But we opened it up, and there was 12 reels of 8mm film in them, old family home movies. So I'm like, we got to digitize this. So I did not digitize those. I found a place I sent them to where, because the machines to properly scan that video, you can find cheap ones online for a couple $100, but the real machines that like will scan it with a laser and align everything, it's like $100,000 machine. So no way am I paying for that. But I had a company that used one of those for me and scanned all this and got me digital video back that I could then work with like anything else. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's. I mean, and then you can just put it online for your kind of family and friends to to
That's
watch.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, do people even want stuff on DVD? I mean, people say they
Some
might,
people
but
do. Some people do. I think, a lot of like, especially me, I run Plex in my house. I have a server in my basement that runs Plex home media server. So I have a massive collection of videos that I can just, play at my leisure, just like Netflix or whatever. And that's how I have all my content for my child, all the things that he likes, we have sitting on Plex, so we can hit the button and not worry about putting discs in and out. But I think a lot of people don't have that yet and are still, to them, DVD is, the easy way to make that work.
yeah, I think my children they I don't think they've seen a cassette, so they're from the era they haven't seen cassettes. They wouldn't know what a VHS looks like. They wouldn't even know what to do with it. So but they're from the age where we had a DVD player when they were younger, and so we don't have DVDs anymore. I don't think we've even got a DVD player. But if they want to play games they've got some games on the Xbox on disc and the
Okay.
PlayStation. Other consoles are available, and so that's where they might know what a disc is for. But yeah, it's but there'll be a time when no one will even be able to remember them, apart from people like you who spent a lot of time. So it's really useful because I didn't know it was actually that difficult, because I've seen those little analog to uh, analog to digital converters that like
Yes.
$30, $100 or whatever, but I don't think they would do the signal correction.
That's a big part of it. So, I mean, yes, there's lots of cheap ways you can convert your video to digital. Um, I used to use some of those cheaper ways, and then I found, started getting the equipment I have now, which can do a much better job. This can capture what I have now in terms of like color capturability is I can capture the full range of colors on a VHS tape, which sounds dumb, but like if you use most of those converters will convert it to a codec called DV or digital video, which was camcorders used to use DV. You might have had a mini DV camcorder, those tiny little tapes. I even got some right
Yeah,
here. They're really
yeah,
small. So these have lower quality of image and color than even a VHS tape would because of the way the compression works in DV. So you try to avoid, like, DV is a delivery format. It's not really a capture format, but in this case, that's all it's on this tape is DV. So, but if I can capture into something that I can capture the whole gamut of colors here and all the resolution and essentially get you know, as close to a copy of exactly as what's on that tape as possible, then I can do more later in post. right? I have more data to work with.
Yeah.
So that's where I've arrived at this. And there's a whole online community of video files and people who have even more expensive stuff than I do. But this is what I think works pretty well.
I mean, please tell me you've got a video disc machine lying around somewhere.
I do not. I never Laserdisc, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, yes, yeah.
so okay, so yeah, I never had a Laserdisc. We did not have that in my house. I had a friend. Do you ever hear of a CED or a capacitance electronic disc?
No, that doesn't
No.
ring a
Okay, this
bell.
CE. This was pretty short. I believe they were made by Panasonic. A friend of mine in school had one, and basically it was video that was on a record. It was not a laser disc. It was literally read like a record, and you had this disc was like the size of a record
What,
in the.
well, I mean, like
You got
a
one.
proper 12-inch.
Like a proper 12-inch record in a sheath. So you stuck the whole sheath into this machine, pulled the cover back out, and this disc was in
Oh, so
there. Yeah. It was a weird thing, and you can find articles about them online. That was a pretty short-lived. Oh, there we go. But yeah, CEDs. So even crazier. But no, I don't have anything quite that fancy. I have VHS, Betamax, and 8mm and mini DV equipment. That's it.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, it's one of those things. I guess it's such a hobby. You spent such a long time learning about it that you become quite specialized. There's quite a lot of knowledge in there that people probably don't realize you have to know about to get a good image out.
That is, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else, right? But yes, it's come to the point where I can look at a tape and be like, oh, you got a color bar at the top. That means I need to adjust this on the VCR, or I need to pull out a different VCR and see if the tape looks better there. Things like that. So
I think we've still got a VCR in the loft, and I think we keep it for historical. We've still got some. We actually do have some VCRs. We got some cassettes
okay.
that I've kept for sentimental reasons. So a couple from like a band that you'd never get that that again. They'd never release it. They didn't release it in any other format.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then I've had some home video of a friend who's kind of passed away. So that's just sitting there. The problem is, it's like Stroginer's video is. I don't know if the video is any good anymore. I'll only know if I play it, and then I'd be disappointed. If I haven't played it, then I don't have to find out that it's not damaged.
It's still good. There we go.
it's good and it's good and not as good all at the same time. But yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I could transfer them. Oh, I have to buy all this equipment. Oh, it's too much faff. But yeah, if I knew someone like you in the UK, I could just send you the tapes.
You could, and I would send you back whatever format you wanted them in.
But obviously, that's not a service you're offering. So just so people are
I don't
aware.
have a PAL VCR that could play your tapes, so I would need to.
Oh yes.
Because you have a different video format there, so.
I'm pretty sure you could buy in the UK VCRs that would play PAL and NTSC.
Really? Okay. Maybe they have that here too. I've never looked, and none of mine at least have it advertised that they do it. Though maybe they do. I've never had a occasion to try.
Because I remember the first tape we got, and it was, I think it was the Smurfs and the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Sorry, that's really showing my age, isn't it? Yeah. And do you know what never caught on in the UK, that we were always amazed when we saw things like Happy Days or things like American sitcoms, is that they would have a machine next to the VCR for rewinding the tape.
Oh, just a rewinder?
Yeah, and
Okay.
that was never a thing in the UK. If you ever watched a film, you just have to, remember to rewind it before you took it back to the video shop.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they were always marketed here as cut down on the wear and tear of your VCR. You don't have to play it backwards. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever
Sure.
remember. I mean, they used to sell cleaning kits, like a tape that you would put through, a bit like the ones you'd have for your cassette player.
yeah, those are horrible for VCRs, but yes, they did sell them. It's
I
an
don't-
abrasive. It's like
I never remember them even working. But on a slightly different topic,
sure.
and I'm going to get this out of the way early because I don't want it to be an elephant in the room.
Okay.
What is your favorite cheese?
So I actually have. Can I have two? Or do I have to
You
pick
can
one?
have as many as you like.
Okay. So I really like Havarti.
Okay.
So nice soft Dutch cheese, kind of medium there. I like that, and I like cheddar, but it needs to be like sharp aged cheddar. So, like my favorite cheddar is probably, so if you ever heard of Tillamook Creamery, it's a creamery in Oregon, U.S. actually. So they sell their cheese like nationwide. Like I can go to the store here in Chicago and buy Tillamook, but they don't sell everything, right? There's certain things you can only get at the factory. So at the factory they sell it's like a 3 or 4 year aged cheddar, and it's so good, but you can't get it anywhere else unless you're there. So whenever I'm in Oregon, I'm like, oh, I gotta go buy some aged cheese. Like
Well, as long as you don't get stopped on the plane smuggling your cheese back.
cheese, yeah, exactly right. So thankfully it's a domestic flight. They don't check usually.
I mean, you can transport cheese, I presume. There's no
Absolutely, yeah. If you're wanting to, I don't.
I just wonder whether I know that from experience, jelly sweets or like sweet. I'm not sure what would be the equivalent in the US, but there'd be that wine gums in the UK or fruit pastels, sort of just like a bag of sweets, but they'll be a bit soft.
Okay, yeah, like gummy stuff.
Yeah. Gummy sweets. Sort of look a bit like plastic explosive when they're going through the X-ray.
Do you know this from experience?
I might do.
Oh dear.
And they don't cause a problem unless you've got some electronics sitting really close to it.
So it's funny you mentioned that. My wife and I we went to Hawaii for our honeymoon, and we were coming back from our honeymoon. So we were flying from Hawaii back to Chicago, and we were going through security, and I go through it wasn't the X-ray, it was like the like microwave scanner machine that can see everything in your pockets and whatnot. So I go through that machine, and the guy stops me, and he's listening to his little radio because the person who reads like the output of the scanner has to be in a different room for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know why, but so he's listening to his room, and he's like, "They say there's something in your right pocket," and I go, "Nope, there's not." And I turn my pocket inside out and show him, and he goes back, "There's nothing in his pocket." And he's listening again. He's like, "Can I feel your pocket?" I'm like, "Sure." So he feels my right pocket. Nothing was in there. I'm fine. I get on the plane. I'm on the plane, and I realize I have a bag of gummy bears in my left pocket. So whoever was reading the thing was backwards, and I'm like, "This looks great for security here for airlines." Like, I could have just gotten on the plane with whatever, and nobody would have figured it out because of right versus left. So that.
Your mic's. Are you right? Your mic went for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Good. I know it's fine. I had a. I think I can tell this. I don't have to go into too much detail, but I went to Pass Summit once, and we had a family holiday, and I was down. We went into Key West.
Oh, nice.
And then spent a few days down there, and then I left them behind, dumped them in the US, or they dumped me. I'm not sure which is. And then they did like the drive from Key West to Miami.
Okay.
They did that over like several days, and I went to Pass Summit. But I went through the airport, and the scanner. I don't even know if the scanner went off, but the scanner went off. Oh, is my video gone?
I can see your video.
The other one's gone. Let me see if I can
Oh,
get
really?
it back.
Okay.
Okay. Right. But I went through the scanner as you do, and the guy said, "Oh, I need to check you down." So I went, and it's kind of the first time it's happened in the US, so I wasn't sure. So I just put my hands up like this.
Okay.
And he went, "Sir, can you put your hands down?" Okay, all right. All right. And so he patted me down, and there was inappropriate touching, and that's all I can say.
Oh dear.
There, and I wasn't sure if that's a normal thing in the US. Thank you. Someone. Oh, look, my screen's frozen again. Someone just
Really?
put up.
Say it's not on mine, but I'm not watching the output. I'm just watching the.
No, well, I've got two cameras.
Yeah.
So I've got you're watching me on the one in the laptop lid, which is a lower quality camera.
Oh.
And then they're watching me on a better quality camera. Shh, the magic of TV.
There we go.
You've shifted across slightly. So I was going to ask about that behind your head. That looks like a lanyard wall.
That is a collection of all the lanyards I can find when I put them up. So. Should we go through it?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Sorry, Michael's watching. He was one who was pointing out the video's gone a bit wonky. It looks all right now. Because I'm not watching what they're watching. I'm watching you. Yeah, go on then. Looks like they look like some SQL bits ones there.
I do. I have two SQL bits, so I've had the pleasure of attending and presenting at SQL bits twice. So this is from. Here, I'll bring it a little closer. I have one from SQL Bits Speakeasy here. That was the one in Manchester last year, I guess. And I have SQL Bits from the year before that, the Magic of Data, that was in London. Okay. And I have a bunch of past Summit ones from various years. And I think I have what is this? This was a Redgate SQL in the City Summit one I have as well. That was one of the ones they did in Chicago a couple of years back.
I'm having some really nasty laptop problems. I can still see you, but for some reason the Teams thing has disappeared and mine froze. Really? But it looks all right now, I think.
We're still on the air, so.
Yeah. Well, it takes about 15 seconds for it to break on the air. So it looks like I'm frozen again. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This laptop obviously needs a reboot. But I think people can still hear us, even if they can't see me. Come on, activate camera. I'm back again. There we go. Okay. If not, I'll switch to the other camera.
Okay.
So, what else? I was missing. So there were SQL bits past Summit, did you say?
Yeah, past Summit, a couple years worth, and then Redgate SQL in the City Summit. So
was that an in-person one in the US?
That was an in-person event in Chicago. Yes. So I am a friend of Redgate. I've been a friend of Redgate for several years now. I don't know how many, but so when they do events like that, they usually reach out to the friends of Redgate in the city or around the area, and if we have a topic we can present about that is in line with topics of their event, they'll use us. So I was speaking I spoke at that event in Chicago. I feel like it was 2 or 3 years ago. I forget what it was. I believe it was SQL source control. I believe was what I talked about at that point.
I don't want to talk about source control. It's a sore subject. That's all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it's a really good product, and I don't like it. It's really good. I mean, just the idea of linking in with Management Studio, you can check stuff in. I wrote I don't know whether it's still available. I wrote a Management Studio plugin that did version control.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it cheated. So I keep flashing in and out because my camera keeps going. I'm trying to fix it and talk to you, but if it goes again, I'll switch to the other one. So what I did was I wrote a Management Studio plugin, which was hell on wheels to get working, but eventually I got it working. Then I had a trigger that detected any schema changes. Oh, that's an ugly picture. Oh, I'm going to switch cameras. All right, I'm going to see if I can do this quickly. Transform, properties. It's going to go really nasty when I switch to... I can't switch to the integrated camera because it's being I'm using it for you.
Hmm.
Oh, that's not very good. Right. All right. Yeah. So there was a trick. You can put a schema change trigger on a database. Then any change, it wrote that change into a table, and
Okay.
then when you right clicked on a table or a stored procedure or whatever, it gave you all the changes of it.
Nice.
I think people are just going to stick with a static image of me. If they can still hear me talking, it should be fine. I just didn't want it to be a really crazy static image of me waving my hands around or doing something weird.
Frozen in the worst possible moment,
Yeah,
like one of those, like,
well, normally this laptop's been pretty reliable.
huh.
Rubbish thing it is. God. If only there were other operating systems other than Windows that I could use.
Oh dear.
Next time I'll just use my Mac. It wouldn't let me down like this.
Hopefully.
So have you got anything coming up that you're presenting at?
So I think I'm done for the year now. The next one I have that I know about is I'm doing 8KB in January. I think it's the 26th of January.
Oh, okay. Tell me
Yeah.
about that, because
So
that
I
is
am.
a seriously deep technical conference.
Yes, that is for those of you who may not have heard of 8KB, it is a technical virtual conference for like advanced level sessions. I think it's all 400 and 500 level content is what they want. They want the brain melters, the your brain is now a bowl of tapioca after watching this type of content. And they did one last year and it was awesome. And this time I was fortunate enough to be picked. So I'm going to be doing internals of data compression in SQL Server. We'll be
Ooh.
talking about how some of the compression methods, how they're used, how they work, why you would want to use them, when you would want to use them. It's a topic I got into years ago when I was working on some really big databases and we had lots of compression we needed to make use of at that point. And now I spend a lot of my time, not only data compression but video compression, as we were talking about earlier. So yeah, compression is kind of a thing I cover a lot of.
So are you purely focusing on things like page and row level compression and the advantages and disadvantages of those? Or are you going into CCI as well?
So I'm gonna cover all three. We're gonna talk about page compression, row compression, and column store as well. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
But from a SQL Server point of view.
Yes. So from the point of view that the SQL engine is handling it. So
Okay. And I presume you're going to talk about how stuff is dealt with at the page level
absolutely.
and the extent level.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be doing all that. We'll break out a hex editor, or at least some page internals, and take a look at what's written on disk, and should be a good time.
Ooh, that sounds really interesting. I presume that's kind of a lot of. Is that just a combination of other sessions, or is that just some fun stuff that you put together yourself?
That is its own session. I mean, it's a product of fun things and curiosity I've had over time. But yeah, that is its own session.
So I mean, is there any kind of general, level 200 advice you would give people about page compression and row compression? So like always, even stuff like turn it on, always turn it on. You might as well.
So
turn it on.
my rule of thumb, and I've worked in places with different rules of thumb. My general recommendation is at this point, you can probably use either page or row compression and not see any performance impact, right? Hopefully, if your CPUs are getting maxed out to the point where they can't do compression anymore, you have a CPU problem in general, I would argue. When a couple jobs ago, when I worked at a pretty large medical data warehouse, our rule was we would row compress absolutely everything, especially because there was a lot of terrible data typing going on in that data, and row compression is best for correcting or helping to correct inappropriate data types to a degree. But it would solve those problems, and then we would use page compression when we had data that could take advantage of it. So repetitive data, string data, things like that.
Okay. So really, it was down to really, it wasn't just a matter of just turning it on. It was like, well, we need to work it out rather than.
I personally don't like blanket edicts. Like, I hate so yeah, I was not going to say just turn it on all the time. That's I think there should be a bit more nuance than that. I've worked in places where, all transactions shall use no lock. Why? Like, things like that kind of bother me. So I try to at least have some level of discretion in when to deploy these features. They're never free. Things like compression are hopefully so cheap at this point that they're almost free, but they're still not free.
Yeah, I think that if you are CPU bound, then pretty much there's almost no point. If you're IO bound, then compression, does seem quite a logical thing to use.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting, I think 2014 had just come out, and I got someone to column store some of their tables. Was it 2014 when column store?
2014 was the first time it showed up, right? Or the first time you could write to it in 2014. Was it 2012 was read only?
Yes,
I think. Yeah. Yes.
To be fair, you can't write to a, you have to break that myth. You can't write to a column store. It's.
You have the illusion of writing to a column store. How about that?
And you could do the it's the same. Because I looked into it when 2012 came out, and then when 2014 came out, I went, "Oh, how did they do that?" And then you look into the row store, and then you wait a minute, this is how we used to do the stuff in 2012. We just wrote into the other table, and then we did an overnight batch, in a sort of lambda pattern. Oh, look, it's exactly the same, except it's being done for us.
Yep.
So you just need to be aware that, right, that is great, but if you're doing lots of updates, deletes, it's not gonna perform overly well. You have to rebuild your CCIs and stuff if you're doing changes. So I don't know how that would work. You must have a similar thing with compression then.
As far as rebuilding?
Yeah. Well, I would have thought, so if everything is compressed on a page and then you need to split that page.
A lot of work.
Pardon?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, it's even, yeah, it is. Yeah. I thought compression, that one of the bonuses was because it stays compressed. It stays compressed in memory.
Correct.
So kind of you can actually just effectively up your RAM. So it seemed like a real kind of no-brainer to turn it on quite a few tables. But I guess if you do the wrong type of compression, you're just making more work for yourself.
You can if you deploy, especially if you deploy page compression in certain instances, right, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. So, or if you have, especially now, we have storage arrays that have really, really good compression built into the storage array. At that point, maybe don't waste your time with the SQL Server compression at all, right? I mean, you'll get more bang for your buck with the storage array doing the compression. It will do a better job. You lose the memory advantage, like you were talking about, right? At that point, you don't get the free memory boost anymore.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to save disk space, that may save you more.
And I guess if you went for something like TDE and compression, you're sort of going, wait a minute. You can turn. I think you can turn them both on. It's been a while since I played with SQL Server, but you sort of, I'm trying to compress something that is encrypted. That I'm not going to get good compression out of that.
Correct. It's the order that matters. So in this case, the compression occurs before you write it to memory because it's compressed in memory. So it's already compressed when it's getting written to disk, and that's the point when the encryption happens. So you're actually encrypting something that's compressed. So that's the way they work together. What it kills though is, like, if you're trying to do backup compression, the backup is reading from what's on disk. So now the backup is trying to compress something that's encrypted, and that won't work. So you kind of lose out on that part.
So how long is your kind of session you're doing?
It's an hour.
Okay. And is that really enough to get into, or would you like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guys well enough to go. Bob needs more time, but I mean, all the sessions.
So I've done a talk similar to this in an hour before. I could have had an hour and 15 minutes, but I submitted it as a 1 hour session. I intend to deliver a 1 hour session. We may have questions that go over a little bit, but
Yeah.
I am confident we will get through this material and hopefully melt some brains, or at least get some people thinking in that time.
Is it a live session?
It is live.
So
the-
because you did you do the last SQL bits?
I did not do SQL bits this year where it was virtual. So
have you done Data Platform Summit? Did you say you?
yes, I that was yesterday. So yeah, that was a pre-recorded session I recorded a couple weeks ago, and they played the recording, and I was in the chat room basically answering questions as they came across.
That's pretty awesome. Oh, I did that for SQL bits, and I really liked it.
I liked it too. I mean, I like presenting live. I like interacting with people, but the fact that I can, make sure I have perfect demos and perfect content before shipping off a recording.
Yeah,
there's advantages to be had there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of effort in getting the recording right, especially if you want to make it perfect. If you're happy with kind of, I've said the wrong thing here, but I've corrected it, and that going out, which I am, then I think it's a lot easier. But if you want it to be absolutely every word to be perfect, then you're going to be there saying the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
And sometimes your demos don't work, or you record it and you've forgotten to turn the sound on.
Yes. Done all those things.
Just isn't fun. Yeah. There's nothing quite. I sat down the other evening. I did 4 little demos. I sat down. I recorded them on one laptop, and then I take them over to the Mac to do the editing. And then I was playing it back and going, "There's no at the bottom. It's all flat.
Uh-oh.
No sound. Oh, okay, I'll redo them again." It's a killer of I don't know. It's just a little bit inside me died. That's all I can say. I have got a couple more. We're starting to get to the time limit.
Uh-oh.
I've got 2 questions.
Okay.
One is who to nominate next, but before we get to that, a question from the Richard Herring Emergency Question Book.
Okay.
Have you heard of Richard Herring?
I have not. So, but there's 1,001 questions in that book. I have to pick a number between 1 and 1,001. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's almost like you've seen another show where this
almost.
Happens.
I try to come prepared. How about question number 926?
Is there a reason why 926 comes to mind?
It may be my birthday.
Wait a minute. This is really long.
Oh dear. Should I pick a shorter one?
I'm not even sure if this is even... So these are emergency questions for the moral labyrinth. Okay, so
Oh dear.
I'm going to read it out. Let's see how this goes. So Rich was shopping at the supermarket. He was alone with his wife, and his wife and kids were at a soft play in town where they were going to meet him at the car later. However, they would not be coming to the supermarket with him. He decided that technically he was allowed to park in one of the parking spaces with kids. I mean, in the spirit, it's we're all there to help our people out who are knackered and have to bring up offspring. So the question is, so basically, Richard has parked in a parent and child spot when he didn't have a child with him. Where have you parked stupidly?
Where have I parked stupidly?
Effectively, that is the question. Have you ever parked in a
boy.
disabled bay? I guess is the.
I have not.
You say
So,
that.
Yeah, no, I'm usually the one who parks at like the far end of the parking lot for 2 reasons. Number one, because I really don't want anyone around my car. and number two, because I know I'm fortunate enough to be able to walk the length of the parking lot, and there's a lot of people who can't, so
My
that doesn't bother me.
my wife will drive around the parking lot, around the shop, around the park. She will stay in the car and drive around till she can get a spot as close as possible. She not in a disabled bay or in a parent-child
Just as
bay,
close as she can
but
get. Yeah.
the closest you can get in a normal bay. And
Wow.
we'll sit there and we'll pass spaces and we could park here. No, it's not close enough. I mean, but by the time we've driven around and haven't to driven back up and then back round again and then down another bit and
Yeah, we really save any time.
no, we've used up more time. We could have been in the shop and out by then. And yeah, all right. I get that it's convenient. We could just bring the shopping back to the car. The car is close, but it's not that. I mean, it's daftness. But she seems it makes her happy.
Okay, there we go. That's what really matters.
So you don't park. You haven't parked anywhere stupid. You've never had a parking ticket.
I have never had a parking ticket, I can tell you that. And I really can't think of any time where I parked somewhere trying to cheat the fact that I wouldn't get a ticket either. Like I prefer to park far away from people. You know, if there's open spots on both sides of me, I'm happy. So I try to go to an undesirable location and park there.
You've never parked on a verge and then realised you couldn't get the car out again.
No.
Or
never had that issue.
Parked in a car park, and then they closed the car park down for the evening and brought shutters down over the doors.
Oh wow. No, never had that problem either.
No. It's never happened to me.
I'm kind of boring in that sense, I guess.
You don't do that on purpose. It wasn't a good idea. I didn't. There was the sign. The car park was supposed to have been closed by the time I got there, and someone hadn't closed it down, and it was open, so I drove in, and then they shut it. So I had to get someone to come out to open it up.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I wasn't very. If it was just me, it's inconvenient. It was I had a load of stuff in the car that was someone else's. Yeah, and they weren't very happy with me.
Yeah, I believe that.
Were you, Steph?
Oh,
all right. Right, so back to the other question. Who do you think would be good to have a chat with?
Can I nominate two people?
Of course you can.
Doesn't
mean I'm going to talk to them. I mean, but you can nominate who you like.
Try. So, number one, I'm going to say Anthony Nocentino. I know you spoke with him earlier as part of the grouub because you had a 8KB episode, but I think you'd enjoy a chat with him one-on-one. And I don't believe you've spoken to Jess Schultz yet.
No, I haven't.
You should really talk to Jess.
I can't remember if I've asked her. I might not have been able to ask her because I don't think she follows me on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But if you could do an introduction so she knows I'm not a serial killer.
Okay, I can do that.
Because
absolutely,
that's the hardest bit. Is kind of because if people don't know you, then why would they at all even acknowledge you exist? I'm just just another random human on the internet. But if you do an introduction, that gives me some credit.
Give you the street cred necessary.
It does, and if it goes wrong, then you can take the credit for that as well. The blame.
There we go. It's all my fault. There we go.
Yeah, of course.
B.O.B. Blame it on Bob, as we used to say.
Oh, I wouldn't like to have worked with that person. That wasn't your wife.
That was in high school. That was in high school. That was one of my my nicknames. We'll go with that.
One of you. I feel there's a story in there. I feel there's something we should dig into.
High school marching band. There was always lots of stories. So, and anything you've ever heard about band camp, yeah, I've probably been a part of that at some point. So,
I haven't really heard of. No. Tell me about band camp.
Oh boy, band camp is a special time in marching band, where you are usually at the beginning of the season, so a couple days or a week. Or I was in college band as well, so college marching band camp was like a week and a half long, and that is a week of 12 to 16-hour days of lots of togetherness and mutual exhaustion, and all kinds of hilarity ensues as a result. So
You say that in the term of no, people just want to kill each other. Are we saying hilarity ensues with libations and drink, or is
that
this...
too, yeah, especially in college. My first night of college, true story. So my first night, first year in university, brand new, a couple 100 miles from home. It was the first night of marching band camp, and there's a party every night, of course, because it's college. So the first night of band camp, the party was at this one particular party house, and the director was out front of the party house because it's college, so the supposed mature adults show up as well. But he's standing out front of the house, drinking out of a paper bag, and asking everyone who comes in, "Can I see your band ID?" Your band identification card, and there are no band identification cards. So that's kind of the, anyone who's in band is saying, "What the hell? I don't have a card like that." Whereas the people who aren't in band and are trying to get into the party are like, "Oh, I left it at home." Yeah. So that's how you tell the difference. But yeah, lots of good times at band camp in high school and college.
I feel that these aren't online conversations. These are after, these are sort of after kind of 9 p.m. conversations in a pub or somewhere where we can find out the real detail of band camp.
That would be the best way to find out about band camp, is talk to me at a event or something like that.
We don't have the concept of band camp, and the marching band thing is not that. I know it's big in America, and they have I think, is it Kevin Kline's, one of his, is it his daughter or son was in band?
I think one of his children was in band. I think he and I have talked about it briefly at some point.
And
there
was a video like load of them sort of walking in, all doing the Star Wars music, and then doing these different shapes, walking around each other, and it's it's like a playing instruments and formation walking, or what is that?
Drill is usually what we call it. Yes. Okay. So
yeah, we don't have that in the UK. It's kind of like okay, that's a bit weird. I'm sure people are having fun.
You have some military bands in the UK that march and stuff, though. Like, maybe not the formation style, but definitely parade blocks and whatnot. I've actually marched in the UK. We did what did we do? We did the St. Patrick's Day parade in Dublin one year, and we did a tattoo one year at the old Wembley Stadium before they tore it down. So
it does exist. It just doesn't have that sort of popularity and kind of and big money behind it. It purely would be, well, I go to Air Cadets or whatever, and there is a band thing there, or our school might do something, But the school I went to, you wouldn't have 14 kids with recorders just out marching around. Kind of, we didn't have that. Most of them with recorders. 2 people on violin. There's someone with a cello over there. It doesn't really work that well in a band camp type situation.
Kind of hard to march that way.
Yeah, 3 guys on the same triangle. No, it doesn't work.
Nice.
Oh, is that Rob? Hello, Rob. See, sorry, someone's putting. You can't see it, but someone's putting.
Oh dear. Oh, I see Rob in the chat here on YouTube. Yes.
So it's not Rob. It's he who shall not be named.
Oh, okay.
For all sorts of other reasons, we won't mention his name because it just encourages him. We don't need to feed that monster.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to give me so much hell when he's on in a couple of weeks.
Oh, you haven't spoken to him yet?
Oh, I have. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And
I was saying, I thought he was.
Yeah, and it kind of he got up and walked off to get some kittens, and then he comes back with his wife, and then I have a chat with her, and then he goes away again, and then he comes back again. Yeah. I mean, talking to Rob is almost as much chaos as talking to Buck. In fact, I think it's worse because Rob knows he can just do whatever he likes, and I think Buck still feels that there probably is, you can't push it too far, but but because I know Rob could do whatever he likes, and he can get away with it, and he's a terrible human being, and he would do it. He's a monster of an ego. Oh, I mean, just oh God, I'm setting myself up terribly, aren't I?
Say, I'm party to this now. Hopefully, I'm not in trouble. No.
Oh yes, you are. Oh yeah. You've agreed to it all now.
I'll be hearing about it later.
Yeah, you will, and you won't hear the end of it. Not coming from Rob. All right, I think I need to skedaddle. All right. And it was fun talking to you and learning about Bandcamp, and I know more about VHS, and I thought I knew a lot because I'm old like that than I did before, and that is it's wonderful because you come on and you learn something.
There we go.
Every day is a school day, and hopefully the people on YouTube have learned something too. Haven't you, Rob? Yeah. Haven't you, Michael? All right. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak to you next week. And next week I've got Steph Martin and Rodney J. Kidd. I don't know whether I've just shoved J in the middle or whether it is J. Kidd, but I'm going to call him J. Kidd anyway.
I think the J's there, yeah.
If it isn't, we'll now call him Rodney J. Kidd.
He needs a middle name anyway, so it's J from now on.
I don't know what it stands for. It could just be J-A-Y, but like Homer J. Simpson. All right. Sorry, I'm rambling. All right. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. All right.